Hi friends, welcome to Oracle Aura, a space to absorb information for your soul's vibration, where we talk about all things metaphysical, holistic, and spiritual, all kinds of juicy methods of self-development. Today, we're going to be talking about mindset. And it almost seemed like it would be too simple of a topic, but it's something that's so important. Our mindset is like the radio station that we're tuning to every day. It's the way that we're choosing to view the world. And we do have the capability to decide what our mindset is. So, in this episode, our guest is Caitlyn. And oh my goodness, her and I had a freaking time recording this podcast. We recorded half of it and then the computer messed up and we had to go back and do it again. And oh my God, it was just like chaos. There was someone outside my window with a freaking leaf blower. And it almost seemed like the universe said, okay, you're going to record an episode about mindset. Well, I'm going to just test how positive your mindset is. Like at one point, Caitlyn even dropped her mic and we just laughed it off.
But anyways, oh shoot, I just dropped it. Okay. Are you good? We're good now.
Yeah.
God, this is one hell of first session here.
Yes. Oh my goodness. But anywho, we shook it off. We said, F you, Mercury retrograde. And I think we made an awesome podcast about mindset and really just getting your mind right. So, just to give you guys a little background, Caitlyn and I met when I was hosting a cacao ceremony over in Indian Rocks Beach. And when she was reading her intention, she was there with Victoria, who I also have recorded a podcast episode with, Victoria Welsh. And both of them really just stuck out to me. I knew there was a reason that I was meeting these two women. And I was just at a point where I felt like I was going to give up on coaching. And I truly believe that I met these two women to inspire me to keep going. And Caitlyn really does some amazing, beautiful work. She helps women learn how to love themselves as well as get out of their own way when it comes to manifestation. Caitlyn knows about all things manifestation and she's really just super inspiring. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy this episode all about just getting your mind right and choosing how you want to feel about yourself, how you want to feel about your goals, and how you want to feel about everything going on in your life. Enjoy. Hi, Caitlyn. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Jada. Thank you for having me on this awesome podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited that you're here and that we're recording again.
Yes.
So we were just recording an episode and the internet like pooped out or something. And yeah, we lost half of an episode, but you know what? That's okay because we have a good mindset.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yes. So, Caitlyn, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Yeah, so I'm a mindset manifestation coach and I help women really help get deep into their mindsets to reprogram and heal any trauma, emotional buildup that's within the body to release anything holding them back to entering their true potential so they can finally have a mindset that is truly in vibrational alignment with their desired manifestations or with what they want to be bringing forth into their life.
Yes. So, we're going to dive into mindset today and really just talk about how mindset really is like the filter through which we're viewing the world. And not only that, but it's affecting how we're manifesting. Or if you're listening and you're like, what the heck is manifesting? Manifesting is birthing your ideas into physical reality, right? So it's like a combination of you having the idea and you putting forth the effort and also finding the balance between trusting the universe and allowing it to come to you. So manifestation is kind of this dance of finding balance to bring your ideas to life. So, mindset. What is a mindset?
Yes, mindset is all about who are you being inside of your mind? How are you being? Is it your worst critic or are you being your best friend? What is it the most? What are you telling yourself the most inside of your mind? And most of the time, a lot of us are being our own worst critic, especially about the things we want to bring forth into our life, which is the number one reason is causing us to be in resistance of receiving that certain manifestation.
Mm, absolutely. And a lot of the times, too, whenever we're feeling really down on ourselves and being really critical of ourselves, that's, well, not a lot of the time, 100% of the time, that's not your authentic self saying those things to you, right? Like, your authentic self at the very, very, very core of your being is not like, why would you do that? You're so stupid. You know, like that's not who you are. Those are thoughts and beliefs that you've accumulated over time. So if we think of ourselves, our authentic selves, as this kind of like pillar of light, this core like beam of light at the very core of our being, right? Over time, things can get piled on top of that. And yes, we also have a shadow. Like every physical thing has a shadow if it's facing the light, right? Every single thing has a shadow, and that's like part of our humanness as well. So it's not about denying your humanness, but who we are at the very core of us gets covered up by all these beliefs, all of these critical ideas of like, you're not good enough, or you can't do that, or you're stupid, or you're fat, or whatever it is. It just kind of gets layered on top. So, working with someone like Caitlyn allows you to kind of peel those things away, right? And get back to the core of you.
Yeah, just like an onion, right? You take
Yeah.
an onion, you peel it back, there's layer over layer over layer, and finally you get to the core of the onion. And that's where you get to the core of whatever issue it is that's causing you to have a conditioned mindset to be thinking the way it's been thinking. Now,
Mm,
I think belief work is a little bit expressed as a really hard process, like a really difficult process. But it doesn't have to be so difficult, when we really want to start to reshape the way we're thinking about ourselves. And yes, there is some healing that goes into reshaping your mindset, but it's about, really being intentional with who you are throughout your day. When you start learning about mindset and law of attraction and manifestation and energy and all of these amazing things, um, that many of us are starting to become familiar with, it's really becoming the the deliberate being of being responsible for what's going on in your mindset. And when you notice you're having traumatic events that keep playing in your mind, if you notice you're having this same emotion pop up over and over again throughout each day, it's when you start to realize, okay, what is this trying to tell me? Why am I holding on to this so tightly and identifying myself with this? And how can I go on in my life no longer holding on to this in a way that I have been?
mm,
Because we all have been through what we've been through. There's no taking away, taking back. It is a beautiful lesson we've been through. Many of us have been through all different types of tragedies in our lives, and it's about how are you identifying yourself with that? Is that being who you are, or how you're identifying yourself, or are you um allowing it to just to pass by? So not being so attached to what has happened to you and starting to open your mind up to a new way of seeing it as this lesson allowed me to become who I am today in this now
Mm,
moment.
you nailed it. That's like absolutely hits the nail on the head. There are so many people, so many of us, I myself have done it before, identify with shit that has happened to us. And it really is true that we're not our thoughts, right? Like our thoughts are not who we are. And there's this really like common, it's almost kind of like a popular thing right now to be sad, right? Like this whole sad boy like vibe going on right now, and like music and all that. Like why is it cool to be sad? Like I that's something that I can't wrap my head around, but I also can wrap my head around because I've been there. You know what I mean? When I was like 16, like 10th grade, being in high school, I was really into like hardcore music and like emo kind of music. And it was like a whole little subculture dedicated to being sad. And ultimately, what that is identifying with your experiences, or identifying with your, depression or anxiety or whatever it is. But no matter what you're experiencing, just knowing that those things are separate from who you are is like instantly so much peace. You know what I mean? Like those things are not who you are. I feel like I totally just went on a little tangent. But like like your experiences are not who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's it right there is, some people, don't even realize that they're being sad or don't even realize that they have control over that. Some people just think that this is all they know and this is what they're going to be like, and they have no other way of knowing to get out. So some people just identify with being sad because maybe that's all they really know, or they've never really understood the different fluctuation between emotions. And so a lot
Mm.
of people, might tune out or push down um, their feelings so deep that they no longer really feel anymore. So they're kind of just blah, they kind of just seem not really with it, with in touch with themselves, in touch with everything around them. And I see that a lot with my clients who have some, emotional healing work that needs to be done, and they've pushed down their emotions so much that they're like, well, how do I even feel, Caitlin? I don't even feel my emotions. When I do visualization exercises, I can't even feel. And it's about going back in and really observing, why did I push down these emotions, or what emotions have I been pushing down that I can bring up to the surface right now? What is it that I've been numbing out, and bringing that up in a healthy way, and not leaving yourself there, not leaving yourself in the wound, but in the traumatic situation that might be causing you to numb out your emotions, but really starting to bring that up in a healthy way, looking at it, why am I numbing this out, sending love to it. And what I mean by sending love to it is to envision that traumatic event, okay? And in a way, in a responsible way, as I'm not going to be stuck here. I'm going to envision this and know that I'm going to send love to let it go. So I no longer identify, or I'm no longer numbing it out, so I can feel my emotions again. And when you work on this consistently, you eventually start to rise up this frequency in your body that allows you to be in touch with your emotional guidance system again. Emotional guidance system, I got that from Abraham Hicks. I highly recommend anyone who's unfamiliar with that source to go check that out, because they talk all about your emotions being your guidance and letting you know what's right for you, what's not so right for you, what's aligned, what makes you feel life, and what makes you not feel good. So your emotions are really letting you down a path of your true happiness, where it wants you to go. And so if you numb out your emotions so much, then you're not really being led clearly. So um yeah, I wanted to touch on that, your emotions.
Yes. And a lot of the time too, like kind of just going back to where I was, God, 12 years ago, emotionally and mentally, depression was something that followed me from my teenage years into adulthood. And whenever we're used to that, whenever we're used to feeling depressed, it kind of starts to feel like sadness is this security blanket. And it feels like comfortable to be sad. Like I used to listen to a lot of sad music. Like even when I, grew out of my little seeny weeny phase and and uh moved out and all that, I was listening to folk music, and I was listening to a lot of folk music that was really sad. Like I was obsessed with John Mayer. I still love John Mayer, but a lot of his music is really sad, and it just felt like comfortable. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
And still, sometimes depression will start to come back to me, and it does have that and it sounds weird to say, it has that inviting kind of energy that's like, "Oh, you could just be in a blanket burrito and be sad. Doesn't that sound nice?" But like but then there's this part of me that knows that when I slip into that, I'm taking something away from myself. Like we're not here to suffer. We're not here to be sad. Like, yeah, we're here to feel the full spectrum of emotion, and we can still experience an emotion and feel it and then consciously allow ourselves to come back to peace. But peace is this like neutral place, right? So like there's being happy and excited and ecstatic and all this, and then there's like being sad and hopeless and depressed and all that, and then in the very middle, neutral, is peace. So if you're in that mindset where you're thinking like, "Oh, well, being sad is just who I am," or being anxious is just who I am, know that that is not who you are. It's something that you're experiencing, and you have the ability to return to that neutral place. And that I think can feel a lot more achievable for people to begin with than just going from like sad to happy, you know?
Yeah, and it's a choice. And, when you want to change how you are, when you're finally just sick of the results you're seeing in your life, when you're sick of not knowing how to love yourself, is when you finally make that conscious decision to make a shift in some way, to get the help you need, to take that course, to ask your friend what they do for, mindset work, or to feel love in their body. And when you make that shift is when you're going to allow and welcome in new ways of feeling. Because, the reason why it feels good to feel depressed, or feels like I don't know if it feels good, but like it feels comfortable in a way, is because it's like when we're so used to feeling that same way, it becomes like our home, like it becomes comforting. It's like what we're used to feeling, even though we
Right, and
know it.
then when you start feeling like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go for it.
When you start feeling like another emotion, I know a lot of people experience this when they're used to being sad or they're used to being anxious, then they start feeling happy and they think, "Oh shit, something's wrong,"
Yeah. Yeah.
because this is unknown territory.
Exactly, or like a lot of people do. I know I did this for a long time. Like, oh my God, this is going so well. When's it gonna end? Like, it's always gonna end. Like, when's something bad gonna happen? I remember I used to do this a lot with my relationships, and I would be going so good. I'm like, wow, we're doing great. Okay, so when's this gonna end? And I remember my mom told me when I was younger and I started getting in a relationship, she goes, after 3 months, Caitlin, usually the 3 month is your like mark if you're going to decide if you're going to continue being with someone. And so I remember 3 months was always when I ended relationships. I was like, "Okay, it's going bad now, we should end." And so I did that for a long time until I kind of weaved myself out of thinking that way now. I've moved past the 3 months mark finally with my relationships. Um, and I started to like I deserve this. I deserve this happiness every day. It's not like I have a good day once and then, oh no, tomorrow's going to be bad because that's what happens. No, you deserve to feel good every day. You deserve to feel love as much as you can throughout your day. And it's okay to do that. So I do think when people get so attached to a comforting emotion, which is not always a high frequency emotion, um, when they kind of start to tune out of that into a new vibrational frequency. When I say that, I mean a new emotion, a new way of feeling. um that's when it feels uncomfortable, but it can feel kind of good at the same time because you're like, okay, I'm feeling
Yeah.
love, but this isn't going to last for long. I know I'm going to go back. And then what are you doing when you do that? Boom, mindset is telling you, okay, you're feeling good, but this can only last for this amount of time. And then tomorrow I should go back. So what are you going to do? You're going to wake up, you're going to feel that way, and then you're going to end up manifesting things that relate to your vibrational frequency, which is what emotions you're tapping into, which is whatever you're feeling comfortable with, or I always call it your autopilot moments when you're not tuning in. And your autopilot moments are always the moments that you're consistently having the most. So when you really, so if it's, I'm always feeling sad and that's comfortable, then your autopilot moments are going to go to thoughts, go to actions that, cause you to stay within that frequency, that sad frequency until you do some type of practice to shift you out of that. And then you can start feeling the comforting of other emotions as well when you start to be deliberate on being aware of what your mind is saying to you all the time. And when you want to take that effort to switching it, to changing into the best version of yourself, which we all can do, it's just about being intentional and deliberate and conscious and aware and all the words that mean being deliberate about it and wanting to see, why am I feeling this way? What shifts can I do? What tools can I apply to my life that can help me with my mindset? Because your mindset is what is attracting everything around you. And the way that you're seeing yourself is the way people are going to see you. It's a mirror. Like, for example, in relationships, I see this a lot. The way I'm seeing myself, if I am not confident in myself, if I am being jealous or something, I can see my partner see me that way. Like I can see that his vision will kind of reflect, or the way he's seeing me will reflect the way I'm seeing myself. And the second I go into my goofy, playful self that I usually am with him, and I love myself and I know I'm amazing, I see him see me that way. So everybody around you is seeing you the way you see yourself.
Yes. Um, Dang, I totally just lost my train of thought. Like I knew what I was gonna say and then I just bloop gone. Oh, yeah. So the reticular activating system is something in our minds that literally looks for examples of whatever we believe. So if I believe, let's say, I'm not worthy, then I'm constantly looking for examples of why I'm not worthy. So for me, social anxiety used to be really prominent. I think anxiety and depression really go hand in hand. And honestly, it was until about a year and a half ago that I feel like I overcame my social anxiety. I don't feel like I experience social anxiety anymore. And you won't hear me say I have anxiety. You'll always hear me say I experience anxiety because anxiety is
Yeah.
not something that I am taking ownership of. And like, even if I experience it, it's not mine. You know what I mean? I want that. Like, I'll still say thank you to it for whatever it's teaching me, but
Yeah.
it's
And
something I experience.
and
But
we're all, oh sorry.
it's okay. Go ahead.
And we're all empathic in some way, shape, or form. There are some people that are more sensitive than others, but we're all energy. We are all energy. We are all source energy. That's our soul within us. And so we pick up emotions from other people. We pick up things going on around us. So labeling yourself that I have anxiety, I have depression isn't true because, you know, it can be picked up from all other sorts of things and you're just interpreting it in your own way. So, yeah, I love that you said that. It's not I am or I have anxiety. It's I'm experiencing this right now, but it's not who I am. So I enjoyed that you said that.
Yes, thank you.
But I experience a lot of social anxiety right now in my life, and I'm not understanding. I understand it, but I'm trying to learn how to deal with it because I'm very empathic. I feel everybody. And when I'm around, this happens a lot with my boyfriend's family. We go and spend a lot of time with his family when his son is in town. And they are, I try to stick around people who have similar beliefs as me, but they are very different. They're very judgmental people. And of course, you got to hang out with them because they're your significant other's family. And you got to, find the balance, to have family time and all that stuff. So I have a hard time around them because I feel them and I don't know how to not have that affect me. Like I understand what's happening and I'm very aware that I'm picking up other people's emotions, but it gets me so overwhelmed that I'm like, babe, we have got to leave now. I can't be here anymore. I've hit my max. It's been an hour. I gotta go. What have you done to help you with that kind of situation if that's something you've relate if you can relate to that?
I absolutely can relate to that. So, with social anxiety, for me, I realized that it was two things. One was my beliefs around what other people were thinking.
Hmm.
And the second one was my ability to connect with my own energy and distinguish what was my energy and what was someone else's.
Yeah.
So, as far as just general social anxiety, being at parties, being at the kava bar, whatever, all my beliefs were around like, oh, these people probably think I'm weird. These people probably don't accept me. These people know that I'm so different and that's bad. And it was like I had to learn to start telling myself nice things about myself. Like, I'm a great friend. I'm so supportive. I'm a good listener. And then just like the law of attraction says, I started attracting people who reinforce that belief, like people who were reinforcing that for me. But what you're saying specifically with being around family members or being around people who are more judgmental, ironically, I just kind of had a little spat with my aunt this morning who felt the need to text me a scripture about why astrology is like of the devil. And yeah, and um it's really just about holding space. Like sometimes we don't like sometimes it's not like a situation where we're sitting down with a client and we're looking at them one on one and like preparing ourselves to hold space. Sometimes it's just like, oh shit, gotta hold space, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, that's really just being in touch with that energy, like at the core of ourselves, and always being able to come home to that home frequency that's in your heart space. But like when you're around other people whose energy feels icky, my favorite method for holding space is imagining a flower made out of light in between me and the person, and everything the person's saying is going into the flower.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so it's like a really easy way to hold space. So like ultimately it's just holding space for them. Like even if they don't realize that they need space to be held for them, it's and they don't even know that you're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also boundaries. Like, if someone's venting to you about something and you're not at the emotional capacity to listen to it, just sometimes a boundary can just be changing the subject really fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, that helps me. That helps me a lot too because I end up like just listening to people's conversations and I'm just like, uh-huh, uh-huh, just to, be polite and listen, but most of the time they're gossiping or they're doing things that I don't do, like talk about,
Well, speaking of mindset, though, that's one mindset that I think probably almost every woman in the world has to unpack, right? I was just trying to be polite,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like, we how many times do we as women
Yeah.
do shit that makes us uncomfortable or stay in places that make us feel icky or around people that make us feel like, I really don't want to listen to this right now, just because we're like, oh, I have to be a good girl. I have to be polite.
Exactly. Man, we do that a lot. I do that a
Yeah.
lot. Oh my
Or how
god.
many times do we say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, what are
Yeah.
we sorry for? For existing?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry for your problem that happened to you. Why am I saying sorry for that? Like
Yeah.
I always I do that a lot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I actually noticed that a couple of years ago. And I'm like, why am I saying sorry? Like, and people would also be like, well, why are you saying sorry, to me? I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing that actually. It's just something that I
Yeah.
feel like is embedded in every woman. Like, be polite, say sorry from like generations of um our beliefs.
Yeah.
Generations, ancestors. Um,
Right? And, like, so in my opinion, like, whenever we're reprogramming those thoughts within our mind, like, literally, you just had, you just uncovered your own mindset about being around these people who make you feel uncomfortable, right? Like,
exactly.
yes, they're your maybe your future family or they're your boyfriend's family or whatever. And you feel like, okay, well, I want to spend time around them because they're, my love's family, but I don't enjoy the conversations that they're having, but I'm listening to them to be polite.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, is it but that's also kind of, like, self-sacrificing a little bit, right? Just to,
Mhm.
like, listen to someone gossip to be polite.
Yeah.
So, like, then it's about, deciding, okay, well, if I don't want to be in this situation anymore where I'm feeling drained because of it, like, can I set a boundary being there?
Mhm.
Do I mentally set a boundary and decide to hold space for them? Do I physically set a boundary and remove myself from the conversation and maybe stand somewhere else in the room or go talk to my boyfriend? Do I like verbally set a boundary and try to change the topic? Like, there's
Yeah.
so many options there, but it is pretty much all around boundaries, whether it's, like, energetic, physical, or verbal. Like, wow, I do you ever, like, give someone advice and then you're, like, having realizations as you're doing it?
Of course, all the
I'm, like,
time. And then there's
taking
times
note.
where like there's times like last night I actually had a mindset shift that I had to do. But
Mm.
I got frustrated. I worked really hard all day and this is awesome to share because everyone can relate to this no matter how spiritual, no matter how much experience you have with meditation and your mindset. We all get in our dipping moments with our thoughts where we get frustrated. And so yesterday I had that moment where I worked so hard all day. I was so proud of myself. But then the second, you know, my love got home and I had to cook dinner and I was doing all these things, because I love to cook a healthy dinner every night. But I was pushing myself, over my limit. I worked really hard. I kind of didn't want to cook, but I did anyways because I knew I, just wanted to accomplish that last step for the evening. And I kind of snapped. I'm like, I'm so sick of doing the dishes. I'm so sick of this. Why am I doing this? And my boyfriend just listened to me like, oh my God, do you hear yourself right now? I'm like, you know what? I just have to do this right now. I'm doing it right now. I'm letting it out. So I complained for like maybe 2 minutes of like being frustrated. And then I was like, Okay, I'm better. I'm good. He's like, "Are you?"
Felt good to get that out,
He's like,
huh?
"You're making me upset." I'm like, "No, I didn't mean to make you upset." And he goes, "Okay,
Oh
well,
my
use your
goodness.
advice." And so there are times where I forget some of the stuff that I teach at times, and I have to kinda let myself cycle through what I'm feeling, and then I go, "Okay, why did I just feel that way? Okay, I may have pushed myself a little bit too much today, and maybe I haven't been giving myself as much credit as I should. So I got frustrated and I let it out, and that's exactly what it was. I didn't stop and pause and say, thank you for all that I've done today. I've just kind of went all day long. And I lost a hold of being the observer and I let myself lose it, and it's okay to let yourself lose it, but not letting yourself carry that with you for the rest of the day. Like, I didn't let myself carry that with me for the rest of the evening. It only lasted about 5 minutes total, and then we started playing and being goofy again. So it wasn't like I identified with that and stuck onto that for hours. So just remind yourself, if you have a moment when you're not upset, or when you have a moment when you are upset, then just let yourself be, and just know that you're not going to carry it with you throughout the whole entire day, and then shift out of it by realizing, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. And then laugh at yourself or say why you're grateful for that experience so you know that it was okay to experience that.
Yes, I love that you said that because honestly, in this self-development realm, there are too many uh facades of, when we're on social media, we see someone's highlight reel. We don't see who they are as a human being, as a whole human being experiencing the full spectrum of emotion. So, to anybody who's listening to this right now, that's really just reassurance that you're not trying to be perfect. Like deciding that you're going to be in an abundance mindset or a positive mindset or a growth mindset, which I feel like is something we can touch on, growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Um, but when you're deciding to be in that growth mindset, it's not about being perfect. It's about deciding, okay, I have the capability to, change this radio station of the mindset that I am listening to right now. What's the story I'm telling myself? Am I allowing myself to feel or am I repressing it? You know what I mean? It's really just about coming back to that place of consciousness.
Exactly, and allowing yourself to be gentle in those moments. When you allow yourself to be gentle in those moments of feeling frustrated. And what I mean by that, it's like yeah, you're going to feel angry and upset, but you're not in your head ripping yourself apart even more saying, "Well, why did I just act like that? Oh my god, I thought I was doing better with this and now I'm not." And no, you're human. You go through all these moments, and by gentle, I mean when you're in those moments, allowing yourself to express yourself in a healthy way, and then knowing, like, okay, I needed that to cycle through me, obviously. I needed to cry, I needed to yell, I needed to dance, I needed to do something to let this move through me in some way. Yeah, I showed a little negativity, but I'm not going to no longer carry this with me. I'm going to now shift out of it and be grateful or be, you know, um, in some way. Now, in the moment of feeling angry, yeah, you like, in a way it feels good to get angry. Like, I felt good getting angry for a minute. It did. I had to complain for 2 minutes and let that go through me. And then I was like, okay, let's breathe and let's go. And I was gentle with myself by accepting that I had experienced that, by not allowing myself to really remind myself that what I did today was enough and that I'm good with what I did today. I don't need to keep adding more and more to do, because that makes you frustrated. So, anyways,
And oh, sorry. Go
go ahead.
ahead. I was just going to say, like, do you know who Teal Swan is?
I love her.
Yes. So she posted something one time that really stuck out to me. And it said that anger is not inherently bad, it shows you where your boundaries lie.
Exactly.
And so basically, when we're getting angry about something, it's showing us, and this is really comes back to also being able to say thank you to those emotions, saying thank you to any negative emotion that we're experiencing in order to be able to move past it. So if I'm feeling angry about something and I say thank you for whatever you're about to teach me, 9 times out of 10, it's showing me where a boundary lies. Like your example is showing you, like, okay, I have to set some boundaries with myself as far as how much I work and how much I exert myself so I can rest and play and be in balance. Like
Yes.
most of the time that we get angry, it's showing us a boundary, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
And that was
I
showing me I was trying to do, and that was like at 8 o'clock at night last night. I was like, ugh, I'm tired. I'm done. And that's when I expressed that. So that was teaching me something, in a way like, okay, here's this emotion now to let you know. It's an alert, it's an alert. It alerts you to let you know what you need to what you what needs to be healed or what needs to be focused more on. You know what I mean? I don't know if that contradicts what I just said though. Um I'm
I don't
trying.
think it does because I think it's kind of just sending you a signal. You know what I
It's
mean?
signal,
You're
yes.
allowed it's like steps, right?
Yes.
So it's not like black and white, like you're in a good mindset or you're not. It's like you are a human and you experience every emotion on the spectrum because you're a human and you have the capability to choose your mindset. But whenever you experience these emotions that are going to innately come to you, you have the capability to either sink into them and just wallow, or you have the capability to consciously choose that mindset, that growth mindset, and say, okay, what is this teaching me, and grow from it.
Exactly. It's all intuitive. It's about being intuitive and intentional about um who you who you want to be in this now moment. It's really as simple as that. What am I going to allow myself to focus in on in this now moment, this present moment, right here, right now? Am I going to keep thinking back at that awful breakup I had 3 years ago and why I don't deserve to find a new partner? Or am I going to think about how that allowed me to know what I want in a relationship? That past experience allowed me to know my new boundaries and what I do want in a relationship, which now gives me the ability to tunnel vision in on the characteristics, how I want them to be, how they are with me. Now that I've learned this from that past relationship, it's made me become a version of myself that knows me better. And so when you start to look at your past experiences, and I just use that relationship as an example, it could be for anything. It All of these lessons, all of these things we've been through are just lessons making us, adapting us into the version of ourselves we are right now. And if we never went through that situation, we wouldn't know better. We go through these things for us to learn these lessons. That's what life is for. Lessons for us to grow, for our soul to experience and expand and transform. And if you don't learn the lesson, you're just going to keep going through something similar to keep learning the lesson until you learn it.
Yes.
So, it's your soul came here intentionally on purpose. It knew exactly what it was getting into. And when you're not in this physical body, you're just energy. So your soul wants this. It comes here wanting to feel and touch and to have emotions and to literally physically touch things and hold things and work and get through things to accomplish and be proud of being able to create a life on this planet. Because when you're not here, if that's something you believe in, these are my own opinions, my own beliefs. Um, when you're not here, you don't have this physical realm, and we take advantage and for granted this. So I just had this vision in my mind when I was meditating. My soul literally showed me how I am not in physical form, that I'm just floating around and da 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 da. And then it showed me my soul coming into this physical body and then just loving, hugging and touching and kissing and tasting. And it was just showing me that's why I came here. That's why everyone came here, to do that simple thing. And when we make our mindset so complicated, when we make our life so complicated, is when we get so lost and so pinched off from our true self. And when we start to not be so hard on ourselves for feeling certain ways, for having certain thoughts, we start to return home because we understand, our soul understands it's a part of us. But we have the ability to learn this wisdom again, to remind ourselves, because our soul already knows all this. That's why when we hear this information, it might bring little butterflies to your stomach if it's your first time hearing it, because you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because you're remembering this is what your true essence came here to do. And so it's okay to feel disappointment. It's okay to feel, tension and stress. It's okay. But don't allow it to be who you are and what you carry with you. And I keep saying be gentle with yourself, love yourself, because we all go through different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different ways of feeling. It's just about accepting and observing and allowing yourself to just be in the present moment as often as you can and enjoying it, because that's why you're really here.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You finished saying that right at 44 minutes and 22
Oh
seconds as
my
you were
gosh.
saying
Woo!
this.
God, those are my numbers too.
Yes, that's amazing. I love that. And it really is so true. Like all the peace that we have the capability of feeling is right here, right now in the present moment. So, wow, this conversation took all kinds of twists and turns today.
I know. We've been down, I think this is
So,
like multiple topics in this
yeah,
video.
right? We talked about mindset and really just letting yourself feel your emotions.
Yeah, and knowing it's okay not to demonize your emotions, because all emotions are welcomed, but not identifying with them.
Well, thank you so much, Caitlin.
Of course, thank you for having me on this awesome podcast. It was such an honor.
Yes. So, where can people find you online?
So you can find me on my amazing private Facebook community called Manifest with Success, where I give you all the juicy tips and tricks on how to fully love yourself. What does that even look like? What does it even mean to love yourself? And how to truly be in alignment with manifesting your desires. And also on Instagram, you can find me at Manifest with Caitlyn.
All right. Thank you so much for listening today, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to pop over to your favorite podcasting platform and leave me a positive review. I would appreciate it so much. And also, if you are looking to connect with a group of other intuitive souls, empaths, starseeds who just get what you're experiencing, at least when it comes to being an empath, being a starseed, being a light worker, a healer, pop over to Facebook and join the group Intuitive Souls Seeking Inner Peace. This is an exclusive group for Oracle Aura podcast where we talk about all things empathy, grounding, self-love, all that good stuff. And I actually have an exclusive live series on there every Saturday called Self-Care Saturday. So make sure you pop over to Facebook and join the group Intuitive Souls Seeking Inner Peace. Thank you so much, guys. Have a beautiful week. Namaste.